Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Televised Podcast. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking about Batwoman Season 2, Episode 17, titled Kane, Kate. Kane, Kate. This episode was, super fun. It felt like so much was happening throughout the entire time. I was like, oh my god, we're only 20 minutes into this episode. It was crazy. And obviously also if you were checking Instagram before the show aired on Sunday, Rachel Scarson posted some pictures that were super spoilery, so that was really fun. Thanks, Rachel. No. But yeah, I really liked this episode. I thought it was really interesting. And I think we'll talk about this more kind of at the end, but it just made for a really good lead in to this finale with all of these threads finally converging. I know I talked about that last week with just with the Sophia thread kind of matching up with the Roman thread with Cersei, and then with Jacob, and then with it, yeah. And this episode felt very similar to that, and then it was like, okay, and now we're gonna tie even more of this together. Here we go, we're adding even more layers, obviously, because Taveroff gets looped in there, Luke, Mary, everybody gets an added loop into this string of it's we're finally putting all the pins in the pin board, and we're connecting all the red lines to the one spot, and it all comes back, and it's just a picture of Kane, because that's what it feels like. But it was really good. It was a really good episode. So there's really not much else to talk about, so I guess let's just get into it. So this episode kicks off, quite literally, with Ryan in a Janus, I think it's a cosmetics store, it's some kind of Janus store, I don't know, as she kicks guard through a glass ad with Cersei's face on it, because they're clearly heavily promoting this a rebirth skincare line and perfume line or whatever. And Ryan's looking for Kate, and she asks the guard where to find her, or even Roman, but he doesn't budge, and Ryan takes one of the perfumes and sprays this guy in the face with, I think she uses 2 perfumes to spray this guy in the face. Anyway, he eventually tells Ryan that Black Mask has gone underground, and he has no idea where he or his daughter are. Yeah, they're gearing up for something, So back at the Bat Cave, we learn that Kate has been missing for 10 hours, so it's been 10 hours since the end of the last episode, and there's been no sight of her on traffic cams, and no one has checked into any hospitals under the name Kate, Cersei, or any Jane Does that match her description. And before they can make any concrete decision on what to do next, Mary gets word that there's a belligerent drunk at the holdup acting like they own the place. And when we cut to the holdup, we find out that said drunk person does actually own the place. It's Kate. Well, I mean, as we find out later, it's not Kate, but it's quote unquote Kate. I feel like in this episode, anytime I say Kate, I just mean I'm gonna refer to her as Cersei, because she is Cersei, currently, at least for this whole entire episode. But every once in a while, I'm probably going to refer to her as Kate, and the air quotes are definitely implied, air quotes, quote-unquote Kate Kane. But so in the apartment, Ryan comments on how they all have bat tech at their disposal, but their mistake was not checking the bar. And Mary gets Kate set up on the bed to recover, and Kate calls her Mary, but then asks how they know each other, which is just ice cold, especially knowing that it's just Cersei just messing with them this whole time. Oh my god, you're so mean, you're such an evil bitch, my god. So in the holdup proper, the Bat team reconvened to discuss Kate's situation, and Ryan brings up some pretty damn good points about the state Kate is in, like going from attacking Mary to running off to treating half of Gotham's lesbians to an open bar. And it's kind of wild because, like, all of the other Bat team members are just, like, not worried. Like, I mean, it makes sense because it's like they're just so happy for Kate to be back that they're just like, oh my God, she's back. Like, won't even entertain what Ryan is saying. But then they're like, it'll take time for Kate to come back to herself and cope with what happened. And Mary says that maybe her dad was right, that Kate does need Alice. And with Alice, she's still crying over Ocean's dead body when Mary finds her. So she's been doing that for like 10 hours. That's, concerning. Alice demands Mary to save his life, holding her butterfly knife to her throat, but Mary says hurting her won't bring him back. Mary says that she knows this feeling all too well when Alice killed her mother. And she tells Alice that she's the reason that Mary knows this feeling. Really just, rubbing salt in the wound. And Alice is like, oh, what? Did you just come here to gloat? And Mary says, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, not even you. And that's like, damn, Mary has too good of a heart for any of this. She is just so good. And she does not deserve any of these people. So Alice asks then why she's there, and Mary hesitantly says that Kate's doing great, because obviously she had a change of plans. Mary had a quick switch. At first she was like, okay, we're gonna go get Alice and she's gonna help Kate. Nope. Now she decides that Alice is too unhinged to, I guess, bring around Kate. Like, she's too much of a flight risk, so she decides to just lie and say that Kate's doing great, and she just came to thank her for saving her. And Alice laughs and says, look at what it cost me. And it's like, oh my God. One step forward, 3 steps back. I mean, this changes by the end of the episode, my feelings about it, but this scene, just like that moment, that line frustrated me so much, because I was like, we just did this like for the past 2 seasons. We just did this. We need to move on. We need to keep going. We need to push forward. Like, we're at the end of season 2. We need to move forward. We need to keep going. Because her bitterness and her anger at Kate is something that I just think Alice as a character should not be stuck in the constant loop of feeling. I don't know, because obviously, I mean, during season 1, Alice was on the uptick with Kate, or on the upswing, with Kate, and then obviously Kate locked her in Arkham, and then that ruined everything. And then in season 2, again, there was like multiple times where she's like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get Kate erased from my memory, and that's it. And like, I'm gonna save her, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna do this. And it's this back and forth, and I know that that's just Alice's like damage, not necessarily damage, but like her complicated feelings that she's, entitled to. But I also think from a storytelling standpoint, we can't keep going back and forth like this, because it gets repetitive and it gets frustrating to the audience to not see growth or change. But I think at the end of this episode, it does kind of get resolved and we kind of get put back on track. But just like in the moment of that, I was like, are you kidding me? And it's like, she also says in that moment, she says that she should have left with Ocean when she had the chance. And I'm like, I just keep thinking back to like last week and the week before, thinking about how they didn't even like each other. I mean, it's just like, come on. I just don't buy the, I don't know. Okay. I know that there are definitely like quite a lot of people who listen and definitely agree with how I feel about Ocean and Alice, and how I feel about how they not necessarily fumbled it. I mean, how with Ocean, I just didn't buy the emotional for these past like 2 episodes. I didn't buy the like emotional weight of Ocean, especially in relation to Alice, because of where we left them before, with them continually fighting over Kate, and then they never come to an actual conclusion. And rather than acknowledge that they never agreed on anything and they probably didn't even actually like each other, it's like Alice is like going crazy mourning him, or like that his death was supposed to be this like big emotional blow. And honestly, if we're comparing, Alice has had 2 really emotional deaths at the end of each season, and killing Mouse for me just had so much more emotional impact, and Alice is dealing with Mouse's death and everything to do with that, because that character, I believed that Alice really cared about that character, and I believed that the emotional impact had ripples throughout the show, and it felt impactful to me as an audience member. I was like really shaken by Mouse's death. But with Ocean, like I said, I just didn't buy that everything was okay, that like everything was, peachy keen with them after all of the fighting that they did in the 2 episodes prior to episode 15. I just didn't buy it. So then all of this in the aftermath has just felt like not necessarily empty, because Rachel Skarsten does such an incredible job with it, but I don't have that emotional investment in Ocean, just because I'm like, I don't agree with you. I didn't like you. I want he was the agent against me getting what I want as an audience member, me getting Alice and Kate back together. Like, that's what I wanted as an audience member, and he was the agent against that. Why should I feel any emotional response to him being gone, but I don't know. Listen. I can't spend all my time just like waxing poetic, I guess, about the Batwoman writers. There's got to be something that I just have a minor issue with, and this is it. Like, just Ocean, everything about Ocean, but it's fine. I mean, he's dead now, so there's no more complaining about him. But we'll talk about this more later anyway, because there's another scene that like I was like, okay. So Mary leaves Alice to mourn, and she doesn't even respond when Alice says that she should have left with Ocean. So back at the Batcave, Luke says that he's going to give Kate her old journals from when she was a Batwoman to refresh the gaps in her memory. But Ryan pushes back. She says it's more than a few gaps, and says that she's not okay and they can't rush this process. And Luke ends up reminding Ryan just how resilient Kate is, and Ryan agrees because she's read the journals too. And Ryan is actually the only person far enough away from this situation to really realize the gravity of it all. And that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like, in this scene, you see Luke almost like skip away. Like, he's just so excited. So like, by the pep in his step alone, it's clear that they're all just too excited about Kate's return to actually like process what's happened to her and take in any differences that might be apparent. And Ryan, in this moment, takes kind of like one last longing look at the bat suit, which is just really sad. In the apartment, Luke delivers the journals to Kate and then offers her the keys to her motorcycle unless she forgot how to ride. And in the apartment, like, Kate, quote unquote Kate, changed her shirt in front of Luke, and he seemed kind of like put off by that. And I think this is an example of him just like ignoring any difference just for the thrill of seeing Kate again. But anyway, so on her motorcycle ride, Kate ends up pulling into a TV studio in downtown Gotham, and she goes up the stairs and surprise! Or not surprise. Thanks, Rachel. It's been Cersei this whole time. And she greets Roman and she complains about Kate, but she asks if she can keep her bar. Roman says he'll make sure it's still standing when they're finished, which is so concerning. What are they gonna do? And Cersei hands over the journals that she just got from Luke, saying that they're a user manual for the Batcave and all the Bat tools. And Sophia's there too, surprise! She's apparently looking for something to like rebuild her island, and that's the one thing holding them back currently from burning Gotham to the ground, I guess. And it's kind of like a fun moment because they're all just like evil and they're all just evil and they're standing around and they're kind of like smirking at each other, and I'm like, you guys, you're so evil. You're so evil and terrible, all of you people. So back at the apartment, Ryan is packing her stuff when Sophie walks in. And listen, my girl Sophie was expecting Kate to be there, and she was expecting an audience for this fit that she was wearing. She looked good. She was dressed to the nines, and Ryan actually teases Sophie about the types of memories that she was trying to jog for Kate. And Sophie says that if Kate doesn't remember a bit of their history, namely the love triangle, where the other 2 points of that triangle were actually both Kate, that's fine by her. Ryan says that she has a nice little place with a great view of the river after Sophie offers her the pull-out couch in her apartment, and Sophie insists that just because Kate's back doesn't mean Ryan has to give up everything. She made the suit and the Bat title her own, but Ryan says that she was just keeping it warm for her, and Ryan says that despite gaining the city and the Bat team's favor, which is what Sophie insists, like she's like, hey, you not only won over Gotham, you won over all of us. Like, you've done so much good in that suit, and I'm sure that Kate would be so proud of you. But Ryan says that the only approval that she's actually looking for is Kate's, and she hasn't gotten it, you know? And Sophie says that, you know, I mean, like I said, she said that Kate would be so proud of everything she's done, but Ryan pushes back and reminds Sophie about Black Mask running loose in Gotham with any army that she hasn't been able to, squash. And Sophie informs her that apparently now he's recruiting former crows to be lackeys. Awesome. Oh no, it's like, oh no. But I mean, you know, of course, you're like, oh my god, of course he would recruit these guys, you know, to be, and it just shows, I think, how quickly, this is an interesting episode in terms of like stuff with Roman and Taveroff, because it's like it shows how quickly the like quote unquote law and order people, you know, I mean, that's the kind of people that the crows douchebags are, like the quote unquote law and order people, how quickly they flip, you know, the minute that they don't have protection from whatever people they might start shooting at. And then, all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm just going to be a mass vigilante and use these illegal weapons and break the law, all kind of, you know, and it's like, what are you doing? Doesn't this go against everything that you said you believed in? Like, it's just a lot. So anyway, with Black Mask, he's giving an impassioned speech about cops' rights that would make any Republican lawmaker jealous. And of course, in the audience is Taveroff. Roman offers them a shit ton of automatic rifles and says that it's time to take off the gloves and put on a mask. And I honestly, I think this moment was a really interesting scene, especially because it's so similar to the scene at Amusement Mile from Birds of Prey. Like, it just has that same vibe where Roman is like giving a speech to all those guys and he's like, I've protected you and you need to get those bitches in the thing, you know, and and it has that same exact feel, and I think it's really cool because it just shows how close Batwoman has come with making their Roman genuinely like hold up against Ewan McGregor and Kathy Yan's version, which I think, is kind of hard to do because he was really brilliant in Birds of Prey. He was so evil and you hated him so much and you're like, ugh, you're terrible. And this Roman kind of evokes the same feeling, Except I'm very thankful that I didn't have to watch him cut anybody's face off, because that was so gross. And I've had enough. I've had enough face stuff. I've had enough. I'm too squeamish. I'm too squeamish for that. Anyway, so Taveroff, though, is actually not convinced at all. He does not want to just put on a little mask, run around and shoot people. He's not into that. He wants to not be just a cog in another machine. And Black Mask offers him the job position of machine rather than just cog. And I guess we'll just have to see what that means. Because the show moves on. But obviously, at the end of the episode, we find out exactly what that means. But we'll get to that. So then we cut to an office building where a man is working when the lights cut out. We then hear Ryan's voice. The interesting part is that it's unmodulated. So clearly she either... I mean, the thing is, it's her voice was unmodulated, but she had the suit because she shows up at the Batcave in the suit. So it's girl, why did you not use the voice modulator? I don't know. Anyway, she says that she knows who he's working for and that the false face goons can't help him now. And while he's distracted, she steals his laptop. And then she goes to the Batcave, and Ryan shows up with the laptop looking for some help in deciphering what is going on with the books, but no one is there. She then hears Cersei, well, quote-unquote Kate, but it's Cersei, Mary and Luke talking while sitting in Kate's office, and she says that she can't wait to get back in the suit defending Gotham again. And Ryan basically kind of takes that as her cue to leave. And then we see her down by the river in her blue van. It's no. Oh. When she was telling Mary or Sophie about, this wonderful place with a view of the river. She's in her van. Oh. It's back to square one, And I just hate to see her like that. And so Ryan is speaking to her mother when she asks why all the good things that happened to her get taken away. Her mother, her mom's plant, and the bat, and Ryan doubts her intuition about Kate, even though we know she's 100% right, and instead opts to make the most of the time she has left in the suit, and she sees all of Roman's purchases for an army's worth of guns. But before she can do much else, GCPD swarm her van, and she's arrested for the stolen laptop and for snakebite injectors that were clearly planted, and she's taken downtown to the station. And it's oh my god. And and here is another moment of all the threads converging, because we hadn't seen Ryan kind of dealing with her we hadn't seen her parole officer in a long time, and obviously we haven't gotten to that part yet, but she does show up in this episode, but we hadn't seen her in a while. And so now the show is hey, remember, Ryan's an ex-con, and this is not a good thing for her to be found with, because it makes it a violation of her parole. It makes it, felony offenses again, of the same kind or maybe even worse. And all of that, it's oh my god. And it's not the Crows this time either. It's the GCPD, who we know is in Roman's pocket. And it's just all of these things are coming together. With Alice, we see her on the beach with an urn, assumedly full of Ocean's ashes after she burned his body in the sewer, I guess. Okay. Then, as she leans down to deliver him to the water, we see flashes of their early affair on the island, and it's kind of funny because it's if they tried to show any of their post-island memories, it would just be them fighting, so I guess that's all they had to work with. Before we're forced to relive even more of that relationship, Sophia actually shows up at the beach and says that she wants to pay her respects, even though she's responsible for his death. Works out real well. With Ryan, the GCPD take her into a parking garage where the cop gets out, and Roman actually steps into the car. He reveals that he knows Ryan is Batwoman. Ryan does a reveal back at him. She knows that he's Black Mask and makes a great joke about Mary Kay joining his Legion of Doom because he's a cosmetic mogul. Ryan pulls a classic, "We're not so different, you and I," but Ryan holds firm on her anti-Roman agenda and says that helping him would mean giving up her soul. And also Roman says vigilante in like the funniest way. He says like vigilante. Anyway, Ryan makes a great speech appealing to Roman, saying she understands the anger and vengeance that he feels and understands wanting to enact justice on those who harmed a person he loved, but she tells him that what he's doing is dishonoring her memory. And it actually like gets to him. He bites back by saying that he doesn't put much stock in the words of a repeat drug offender, clearly threatening to throw Ryan back in jail if she doesn't help him. But then he says that she won't even live to see jail, so it's like, oh my god, who is this guy? He's so evil. And of course, like in this speech too, he's like, I just want the best for Gotham, that's all I want. And it's like, dude, shut up. Because it's so clear that, like, I don't know, that he saw an opportunity to, like, use his power. And also, I mean, the interesting part is that he doesn't recognize that this is like probably the first time in his life that he's ever felt like disenfranchised, because of what happened to his daughter, which really, like, it wasn't even what happened to him. It was by nature of the patriarchy hurting his daughter, but he doesn't even see how what he's doing is enforcing that same stronghold into Gotham once again, because like with Cersei, it's like she was thrown in jail to like cover for this guy who was responsible for hurting her because he felt that he had, some kind of power over her and to hurt her. And Roman doesn't recognize that he has the same power, and he's using that same power to do that to like so many other people. I mean, Angelique, Ryan, so many other people, and I don't know, he's just not self-aware. And it's a really interesting commentary about, I think especially like older white men in power who just don't realize that maybe the first time that they've ever felt disenfranchised, and not even because of something that happened directly to them, but because of something that happened to, his daughter, that was a direct result of other older white men in power. Like, hello, you're attacking the wrong people. Like, Roman is like, it's the fault of this vigilante. Like, what? No, it's the fault of the people who put her in there. The same systems that you're helping by corrupting the GCPD, I don't know. Villains are just not self-aware. They need to do some soul searching. At the Batcave, the Bat team realize that Ryan was set up and they need all hands on deck, including Kate. With Kate, quote-unquote Kate, she's in the holdup with Sophie, and she's reading the letter actual Kate wrote to Sophie to tell her that she's Batwoman, the same one from Season 2, Episode 1. And it revealed that she loved her still, that note where Kate was like, and it's because I still love you, all of that. And Sophie says that she thought they had all the time in the world for her to tell Kate how she felt, but then she was gone and all she had left was that letter, and she says that she read it like every day, just like, holding out hope that she wasn't dead, and obviously, and before Cersei can say much more than, I'm glad I don't have to lie to you anymore, Sophie gets a text that Ryan has been arrested and they're off to the Batcave. In the Batcave, Sophie and Cersei enter and jump right in. Sophie wants to know exactly how Black Mask knows Ryan is Batwoman, but Luke says they have more pressing issues right now. Ryan is being held in the Gotham City courthouse in a secure cell, and there's no way to know who's on Black Mask's payroll. Sophie says that it only takes one officer to kill Ryan and then make up any story to cover it up. And Mary offers the suit to Kate, quote-unquote Kate, and she says a line that I wish I wish it was a Kate line so bad. She says, Ryan risked everything to save my life. How could I not do the same? And it's like, oh, come on. That was a Kate line, and it should have been. Sophie says she's coming with, and I just got you back. I'm not losing you again. And as Cersei walks up to the wall of bat tools, she picks up a bat dart gun and says, I'll take the bat bike, you take the U-Haul. And then she shoots Mary and Luke with the darts and then says to Sophie that lying to her was the easiest thing she's ever had to do. And then shoots Sophie, and oh my god, she's so evil. She's so evil. She's such an evil lady. Oh my god. And she's homophobic too. No! I just know that Kate's gay ass is banging around in Cersei's head like she's listening to Tegan and Sarah, you know? As a way to just like mess with Cersei's head, Kate has somehow manifested like a little record player, and she's playing Tegan and Sarah in her mind. Oh my god. Just, why is she homophobic? Like, she got transplanted into the gayest person that Roman could find, and she's homophobic. Oh my god. She's so evil. And the drama. And listen, as much as I just like absolutely despise Cersei, I think that she's really fun as a villain. Like, because she's just like an evil influencer. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, post a bad rumor on your Instagram about me? Like, like she's simultaneously extremely threatening and extremely not threatening at all. Because it's like if Kylie Jenner started running at you with like knives, and you're like, oh, whoa, Kylie, you know, come on, don't you want to take an Instagram story first? Like, anyway. Then we have another really wonderful scene. At the courthouse, Ryan is in a room with her parole officer, who sounds genuinely concerned for Ryan's well-being while telling her the kind of time she'll be doing. After she was going to recommend that she like stop having to report to her parole officer, I don't know how parole works, and I got kind of confused about what she said. But anyway, she tells her parole officer that she's being set up, and she definitely does not believe her and calls Ryan's claims that Black Mask is out to get her and owns the GCPD a paranoid fantasy. Then Ryan does something that I'm like, oh my god, you are crazy. She tells her parole officer that she's Batwoman, and she says, I need you to believe me. I need you to see me. And then two officers come in, and they try to take Ryan out, and Ryan knows exactly what's going to happen once she gets out of line of sight of these cameras and her parole officer. It's not going to be good. And she says, do you see me? And then her parole officer steps up and says that she needs to speak to the judge, and actually gets a gun pulled on her, and Ryan kicks the shit out of those police officers. And I absolutely loved the parole officer POV as she just like watches Ryan lay out 6 GCPD officers with a chair and just like her fists, and she's just like under the table like, oh my god, Ryan. And as Ryan's about to escape, her parole officer gives her the badge, like her little key card that will get her out of the parking garage, and Ryan thanks her for everything, you know, not just for the card, but also just for believing in her and supporting her for this time, and especially right now. And her parole officer says, anytime, Batwoman. And that's just like, yes. Yes, that's such a good moment. It's like, yes. It's so good. I love those moments. Like, It makes me think of in Supergirl when Lena was like, and that's your cue, Supergirl. You know, just like I love those kind of like cheesy moments. They're wonderful. Back on the beach, Alice noticed the lack of guards and says that it'll be easy to take out Sophia right now and lunges at her with her butterfly knife, but is quickly disarmed. Sophia says that killing Ocean was payback for Alice burning the Desert Rose, and she says that this war between them should die with Ocean and throws her knife into the water. Sophia says now that she's trying to save Alice to give her shelter from the storm about to hit Gotham. At the Batcave, Mary, Luke, and Sophie are just coming to and they're trapped in an elevator. They all realize that they've been played the entire time. But Mary points out that she didn't actually kill them, just, knock them out. So there has to be some Kate left in her. And Luke says that maybe it was only just enough to give her the keys to the castle. It's like, ooh. Maybe, Mary, if you had just brought Alice, none of this would have happened. My God. But we can't blame Mary. We can't. She's been treated like shit, for probably her whole life. She doesn't deserve any of that, so I can't put the blame on her. But, I mean, it is true that maybe if she just, not changed her mind and brought Alice, then Kate would have come knocking on Cersei's skull and been like, hey, let me out, So with Cersei, she enters a different, desolated part of the Batcave with cobwebs and dust. And it's actually a place that we hadn't seen Kate go before that must have belonged to Bruce. And we even see an old cowl that probably definitely belonged to Bruce, or it's Luke's batsuit. We'll see. In the containment unit, there's this radioactive containment unit, and it's got smoke, so it's cold in there, Anyway, in that, there's a reference to Bane, the Mad Hatter, Poison Ivy, and the Poison Ivy plant is Cersei's focus. And listen here. I think because there was so many Poison Ivy references in this episode, there's more to come later. I think that they should bring Poison Ivy onto this damn show if DC, if Warner Brothers will let them. Because that shit would be so good. And Madeleine Petsch already works at the CW. Okay, listen. The girlies from Riverdale, Madeleine, Lily, and Camila need to just come on. They just need to have a little break from Riverdale. They could, Cheryl, Veronica, and Betty can all go on a little girls trip and be gone for, a couple days, and then those three show up in Gotham as the Gotham City Sirens. Because absolutely, Madeleine Petsch, first of all, she's redhead. Come on now. And she already did Poison Ivy in the Halloween episode of Riverdale. She wore it as a Halloween costume, and she did an ad for PETA a long time ago where she dressed up as Poison Ivy. I think it's her time. We need to let her be Poison Ivy. And Lily Reinhart is extremely talented, and I think that she could definitely pull off Harley Quinn. I think that'd be really fun. And I also think she dressed up for her as Harley for Halloween once too. So there we go. We're 2 for 3. And Camila Mendes, I think that she would be a great Selena Kyle. Just, just for, this cameo, this one-off episode kind of thing. Nobody's asking them to leave Riverdale and start their own Gotham City Sirens spin-off, but I think it'd be really fun. I think it'd be really cool. And I think they're just the perfect trio for that. I think it'd be great. So in the main Batcave, Ryan enters and she says, I know we're all excited about Kate being back, but I really could have used a helping hand. And Mary says, so could we. And Ryan obviously sees that they are trapped in the elevator and they fill her in. But then Ryan goes to get a weapon to cut the Bat team out. And Cersei shoots a bat arrow with the bat crossbow. And yes, I will be calling every weapon a bat weapon just because it is so funny. Because sometimes I always think about the episode, there was this old Scooby-Doo special where they did a Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin, and it's Adam West Batman kind of design, sort of similar to that. And it's like, oh, you know, like Boy Wonder and the Joker and the Penguin and the Scooby Gang had to help Batman and Robin solve a like Confederate money crime that the Penguin was committing. Anyway, did I say counterfeit money? Anyway. Anyway, though, in the episode, Batman has to like tie up he has to like blindfold the Scooby Gang so that, or Mystery Inc., whatever you want to call them, so that they can't see where the Batcave is. And he says, when we get to the Batcave, we'll have bat milk and cookies. And Shaggy says, what is bat milk? Anyway, I'll put in the clip.
Batman, like when we get to the Batcave, could I get a little snack?
Yes, Shaggy, we'll all have a snack. Bat milk and cookies for everyone.
Bat milk?
Like bat milk. Anyway, I just think it's so funny because Batman, he's so goofy, adds bat to everything. So I have to do it. Anyway, so she shoots her with the bat crossbow, and it's just like, Cersei, you're so evil, but she's so fun. And either way, Ryan manages to escape, but not without Cersei on her tail. And back with Sophia and Alice, Sophia offers for Alice to go back to Coriana with her. She says, come home. And Alice is like, look, I know that the last time that I left Coriana, I burned it to the ground. I turned it into, she says, quote, an all-inclusive ashtray. And, but Sophia's like, look, I'm going to use Poison Ivy's aggressive vines to make the one desert rose that Sophia has become many, many more and rebuild her island in like 3 to 5 business days. And then Sophia drops the bomb that Kate was actually Cersei, and Sophia rubs salt in the wound by asking her if she really thought that she had gotten her sister back. And I also just love how, like, Sophia's like, oh, come on, come back to Coriana. I'll take care of you. You know, it'll be wonderful. And Alice is like, girl, I am not going to kiss you. I am not going to come home, or I'm not going to go to Coriana and just, like, be your little housewife. That's not what is going to happen here. Because that's Sophia's like, I killed off the man that you loved. Now you can come and live in my house. And we can get married in like a couple years. She's just like the most evil lesbian ever. She's so evil. Anyway. At the Batcave, Cersei is playing sharpshooter and threatens to start going fully Season 1 Green Arrow, you have failed the city on Luke, Mary, and Sophie. And she actually shoots one arrow into the elevator, but it misses, and Mary appeals to the Kate that's still in her, but it's not enough to stop her from shooting at Sophie and pinning her jacket to the wall. And while Cersei's busy, she is evil, but she's also busy. She's evil speeching. Ryan comes in and sprays her with a fire extinguisher and then hits her over the head with it. And then she says, this nose costs more than everything in here. And Ryan says, it's not your nose. Otherwise, I would have broken it. And then the girls are fighting. Oh my God. So then while the girls are fighting, Sophie and Luke manage to pull some arrows from the wall. And apparently they're made of titanium, so they use them to try to lift the like grid thing of the elevator with Mary. And Ryan gets tossed into the cave wall, where Cersei then takes to hitting her with the fire extinguisher. Sophie breaks them up by holding the bat crossbow to her, but Cersei says that she wouldn't shoot her because she loves her. And Cersei then turns to Ryan and says to not feel bad, Kate couldn't beat her either. Then she takes the suit and runs. And it's like, oh my god, like, Batmore. Guys, Kate and Sophie are everything to me, and I'm very upset. And I just, oh my god. And listen, I don't know. I don't know what's actually going to happen, but I can feel it in me bones that the Wildmore, Batmore love triangle is probably going to happen. I mean, first of all, in this episode, you know, you had like Ryan being like, ooh, I know that you were dressing up for Kate, you know, and it's like, oh, why do you care, Ryan? Are you jealous? And also, I mean, obviously we had that horrible heartbreak with Cersei revealing like, oh my god, this is the easiest thing to do, to lie to you, and then like shooting her. Like, that was like the ultimate betrayal. It was horrible. And then for Sophie to not even be able to take the shot at Cersei because she knows that that's Kate's body. And it's like, oh, it's not even like Kate's face, you know, it's Cersei's face, but it's Kate's body, and it's Kate who's somewhere in there. And it's just so heartbreaking. Like, oh my god, I know you're in there somewhere. And it's like, are they going to be able to extract Kate or remove Kate from Cersei? Or are they going to have to like do the worst thing imaginable and kill her again? Or kill her, you know? And I don't see that happening because Miss Caroline promised to not kill Kate, but but I just, you know, I think it'll be really interesting to see how it's handled when everybody has to fight the person that they know houses Kate somewhere in there. I mean, it's just really interesting. Who's gonna be throwing the punches? Who's gonna be just like really going at Kate, you know, and putting their feelings aside. With Alice and Sophia, she rubs in the fact that Alice now has no boyfriend, no sister, and now all she has left is a city full of enemies. She hugs Alice as she plays up her emotions, and then Alice stabs Sophia with the Desert Rose dagger and says that she'll take it out when she gets her family back. And Alice agrees that killing Sophia would be no fun, but making her suffer, now that sounds great to her. And I think it's so interesting how, not interesting, but I think it's really cool how it all kind of like has come together to this point where obviously Desert Rose dagger into Ocean, and then out of Ocean, Desert Rose dagger into Tatiana, then out of Tatiana, Desert Rose dagger into Alice's hand, almost into Alice, into her hand, butterfly knife into Tatiana, dead, Ocean dead, and then now to this point where Sophia throws her butterfly knife into the river or the ocean or whatever, the body of water. If it's supposed to be Chicago, it's a lake. So, but because they're in Vancouver, it's like the ocean. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, butterfly knife into the water. But then all Alice has left is that Desert Rose dagger, and she just stabs it in there. And I love that. I love that. Because, I mean, really, she's right. Like, it would be too easy for her to just, like, kill her on the beach, you know? Especially, like, narratively. Like, I want, like, this, like, really satisfying, you know, demise for Sophia. Because she's just so evil, and you're like, I just want you to like suffer the way that you've made so many people suffer. Namely Alice and Kate and Cersei. Like, holy shit, this bitch is evil. So in the secret Batcave, the team takes stock of all the things Cersei took and all the weapons she now has at both her and Black Mask's disposal. Luke apologizes to Ryan, saying she was right about Kate and Cersei, you know what I mean. But Ryan says it doesn't matter anymore because she has everything and they have nothing, not even a suit. And Ryan admits that she's scared as hell, and it's just like, it's such a real moment of like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We are unprepared. Just we're not ready for what is about to happen. And we don't even know what's about to happen, you know? And I think it's so interesting to watch them have this moment of realization. And I think that'll be a really interesting build-up for Batwing, who is going to become Batwing out of necessity, out of the lack of Batwoman, you know? And I think that's really cool how they've built it to where they've written this story to where Luke can have his moment as Batwing, where in a moment where Ryan, it narratively makes sense that Batwoman is kind of like out of the picture for the moment, so that he has his debut kind of uninhibited, you know what I mean? Like, not as a sidekick. Like, he's not debuting as a sidekick, like, behind Ryan, He gets to have his own moment because Ryan is not available to have the Batsuit because Cersei tore it up. Anyway, so with Taveroff, actually, we see him going through the new toys Cersei secured for him, naming all of the stuff that was in the thing, Joker's acid flower, Clay faces mud, Killer Croc's tooth, and Roman implies that they're going to use Bane juice. I mean, it's venom, but like his Bane juice to turn Taveroff into Bane. And it's like, oh my god, this is crazy. I mean, first of all, I'm surprised that DC like is letting them get away with all this, but like turning Taveroff into Bane, that's crazy. Especially, I mean, like the whole Bane juice, like he's gonna be, oh my god, Bane juice. So in the control room of the TV studio, Cersei is hacking up the Batsuit, turning it into the Franken suit that we saw on Rachel's Instagram, which honestly looks so sick. But I'm also like super sad because it's like Ryan worked so hard to remake that suit, and it's like she's just tearing it up. But I absolutely adore the like she put the like carve down the middle of the actual symbol itself. And I just love that she did that because it's just so cool, and it's so representative of a mind split, as much as she wants to think that she's 100% Cersei or like at least 99% Cersei. I think it's very representative of a mind split in half, and a person torn in two. And I think it's really cool and really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what exactly comes of this finale, because if the promo is anything to go by, which confirmed Taveroff Bane with the Bane juice, and gave the first look at Batwing Luke, which is so good. He looks so good, and I'm so happy that the suit lights up. That's like my favorite part of the whole thing. And also a fight between Alice and Cersei, which will be really interesting. And yeah, just like, and so many other really interesting moments that I'm like, oh shit, this is about to be insane. And I mean, like I said, my only wish is that Kate will be back for season 3. That's my only wish. It's my only wish. So we'll see. But I am so excited for this episode on Sunday for the finale. So everybody be sure to tune in at 9/8 Central on the CW for the Batwoman season 2 finale. It's definitely going to be a good one. Probably one that you don't want to miss because there will be spoilers everywhere, and I'm sure it's going to be so sick. So tune in for sure. And if not, you can catch up the next day on the CW app. But that's all I have for this week. It was definitely a really good episode of Batwoman this week. Lots of things to think about. Lots of Cersei hating to do. And I feel like I feel like every every episode for the past like 5 episodes I've been saying it's Kate next week. We're getting Kate back next week. It's Kate next week, but I actually mean it. I mean, it's the last episode, so it better be Kate at least at some point next week. But I feel like that meme of like of like the grandma that people put like, oh, it's Kate next week. It's going to be Kate. It's going to be her. And then it's like the lady and she's like, sure, grandma, let's get you to bed. Anyway, though, let me know what you thought of this episode of Batwoman. You can leave a comment down below, or you can tweet me at televisedpod. You can like, rate, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.